Diablo IV, the fourth generation of the Diablo-like game. The story timeline is decades after the end of Reaper of Souls, after the Dark Soul Stone was destroyed. The three sources of evil were defeated, and the Angel of Death Malthael finally fell. Countless lives were lost, and the inhabitants of Sanctuary struggled in the darkest of times. Years later, as all things began to recover, a threat as old as this land began to stir.
It's so easy to create a community. It makes Diablo more of a social experience.
We've got fully enabled crossplay.
If you have an Xbox and your buddy has a PC, you're going to be able to group up.
Path of Exile 2, the orthodox sequel to Path of Exile created by Grinding Gear Games, taking the world 20 years after the story of Path of Exile as the world view. The story is narrated for 7 chapters. Players can choose to experience the story campaign of Path of Exile 2 and the first generation of Path of Exile, but the game ending and gameplay pattern will not change, compared with Path of Exile. The game picture quality has improved by leaps and bounds. Physical collision effect. The strike effect is not inferior to Diablo IV. Metal Mutation. The game's official account once left a message under our video, replying to some netizens' doubts about this game. Not to mention the quality of the game. This kind of high-intensity self-search still requires courage and responsibility. At present, the introduction of the game's Steam platform is mainly self-deprecating. The production team does have a big heart. The game itself is closer to the Hades-style Meat Pigeon action RPG. However, it is also an isometric action RPG, and we should give domestic manufacturers more exposure opportunities. The game is expected to be released in the first quarter of 2023. Superfuse, a hack-and-slash ARPG game in the style of American comics. There are 5 different classes of characters to choose from in the game, and at the same time, the rich and huge skill tree allows players to have their own style of play. Even the same character will have different styles in the hands of different players. Powerful weapons, novel protective gear and support items can all make heroes stronger. There are hundreds of items to choose from for different occupations. Batora, Lost Haven. Embark on an epic adventure to save the planet in this intergalactic action RPG. Harness the ancient powers of the sun and moon against a variety of unique enemies while solving puzzles to explore stunning sci-fi worlds, each with its fascinating stories, inhabitants and mysteries.
Do this.
Corepunk, a game developed by the Dutch team Artificial Core, a seamless open world from a top-down perspective. The game will have a unique combat style and ability, a complete game economy system, a crafting system, and a trading system and other rich game experiences.
More haste! Less speed!
Dreadhunter is a fast-paced shooter RPG where you play as a sci-fi monster hunter piloting a cutting-edge mecha suit to shoot, hack, smash and dash to slay hordes of deadly monsters and defeat vicious bosses. Enjoy a fast-changing egg combat experience between ranged and melee combat, dodging fast and deadly attacks from monsters, finding targets for bounties in each level, and each entry into a story campaign where all environments are unique. Collect loot that changes the way you play and upgrade your mechs, weapons or abilities. Gimle, the Broken Prophecy. Enter the dark world of Norse mythology in this isometric RPG inspired by classic themes. Play as Brand, a brave warrior with the future of a new world on his shoulders. Use his supernatural abilities to make difficult choices and then affect the fate of this mythical land.
His wrath knows no bounds. But there is one thing that terrifies him. It's Jorhuger. Discover your destiny. Face the dead armies.
Last Epoch, the game is still in the early access stage and has not been officially released. The game has a very good foundation, and the core dark gameplay also extends its own characteristics. Although it is not as hard as Path of Exile, core complex game content, but still fun if you like slick games, but don't like the heavy equipment production process like Path of Exile. Then the last age is worth tasting.
His armament for challengers worthy of facing the full extent of his knowledge of blades, maces, and shields. Honing herself to a razor's edge as if a living weapon, the Crimson Blade is ready to strike from the shadows. And Alfred Wolfmaul, alongside his pack of wolves, is prepared to bring down the might of a tempest onto any challenger that dares to contest his power within the arena.
Gatewalkers, a cooperative survival game with action RPG elements, where players travel through different worlds to save their own, explore procedurally generated worlds and face hostile inhabitants of different worlds, facing extreme weather conditions, toxic atmospheres, and water shortages. Spark in the Dark, a hardcore dark fantasy dungeon explorer for dungeon explorers, will take you to the endless depths of mysterious and grim dungeons. There are mysterious traps and terrifying monsters here, in the dungeons that existed thousands of years ago. There are also countless treasures buried. Of course, you have to overcome many dangers to get them. Perseus, Titan Slayer. Do your best to defeat the Titans. Enter the abyss of Hell Tartarus to prevent Hades from conquering Mount Olympus and destroying the world. In this roguelike Match 3 dungeon adventure game, you will take on the role of Perseus, son of Zeus, a demigod whose mission will be to stop Hades, the king of the underworld, and the people surrounding him, the destruction of the world by evil forces.
You have no idea what vile so-called gods you see. The brightest light casts the darkest shadow.
Ragnarra, Might of Muskets, a gunpunk action RPG with a top-down perspective and strategic elements. Gameplay is based on 3 pillars: exploration, combat and resource management. The story takes place in Norway during the revolution of the 17th century. Attack monsters with muskets and magic runes. Queen Ragnarra struggles to defend the capital and the last major inhabited city, Asgard Castle.
I didn't think about that.
The Legend of Capa Negra is a top-down soul action role-playing game set in a dark medieval world. As a new member of the rebel faction, your first mission will be to travel to a small village to meet contacts, find your way through a dangerous storm and join the war against the king. Coridden is a monster-turning action RPG that can be played by 1- for players. Embrace your newfound powers, defeat mighty foes, overcome obstacles on your journey, uncover the mysteries of a lost civilization, and stop the slumbering threat from erupting again. Save the people of distant worlds. Play as one of 4 thrill-seeking siblings who one day gain superhuman abilities after receiving old artifacts. Explore different paths in choice-driven dialogue, and a variety of tasks you can perform while on a mission to save people. Lightedge is a role-playing game set in a medieval fantasy world. Players play as the leader of the Halo Academy. All the masters have foreseen a bright future for you, but fate has brought you into a conspiracy. You need to reach your full talent and potential or you will be overwhelmed by the mighty power of Peridor. DEADHUNTERS is a cooperative rogue-playing game. Choose your hero, start missions and make decisions together. Loot, level up and die again and again in the ever-changing world of darkness. Conquer the damned dungeon and earn your rightful place in the Hunters Guild. Sands of Aura is still in the early access version and has not been officially released yet. The game is a fantasy action-adventure game featuring an open world, set in a country buried under a sea of sand and declining day by day. Set sail and sail across the sea of sand to save a dying world. The moving story and classic Dark Souls gameplay bring you an unprecedented gaming experience. Tales of Alchemy is a spell combo roguelike with thousands of items, a deep RPG casting system, fast-paced combat, and a randomly generated world full of secrets. Mix your spells with environments and weapons to make combat smoother as you master thousands of combinations to take out your enemies. Powerlust, an open-ended magical RPG adventure game, incorporates roguelike gameplay, massive equipment options, and high degree of freedom maps that add different fun to the game. And the game also has ultra-clear and exquisite the screen and the magnificent soundtrack make players more willing to have a deeper understanding of the fun of the game.